People of the internet, the Shane Gillis beef has gotten worse because now the guy that started it with Shane Gillis at the Mothership is continuing on and responding to all of the backlash he got from telling his story of what happened that night at the Mothership. So today we are going to learn what this guy has to say about the incredibly bad response he got last week. Let's go.
Let's get to the elephant in the room for a minute.
Oh yeah, there is.
I just want to put.
No, I don't think anybody knows that there's an elephant.
Well, okay. I don't want to like spend it. And by the way, once we do this, unless people bring it up, I'm not going to talk about it anymore because it's. I mean, I'm sort of having fun with it, but it's sort of like I don't want to be more than anything. I don't want to be accused of like milking this nonsense any more than I've already been accused of milking the nonsense.
Mm-hmm.
But for those of you who know, a couple of weeks ago I was in Austin, Texas, and I was at the Mothership on Sunday night, and I was at Joe DeRosa's shows, and the last show I was in the bar, and I met that Tony Heathcliff guy who was very. Am I saying his name right?
Henchcliffe.
Henchcliffe.
But I never know if you're joking.
No, I'm never joking. Henchman.
Henchcliffe.
But so you're already getting a taste of who this guy is because you know what? This was the biggest thing to happen to his YouTube channel. This drama was the biggest thing. Like, in all honesty, if you look at this guy, he's streaming to a bunch of other guys that look like him. And he knows them all by name, and they show up to his live stream every week. It's that kind of thing. So this was the biggest thing for this guy. He probably read all the comments. He probably deleted all of the hate comments because he ain't never got them. So that's just a natural reaction, right? And this thing has been on this guy. He's probably sad right now that the drama has died down. And he's just back to regular stuff, back to regular stuff. But you can also see what got him in this situation because he's like, I'm having fun with it. He doesn't, want to act like it's actually affecting him or anything. And, he wants to play it off like he's milking him. He's above it. This is the same attitude that got him in the spit spat with Shane. The same attitude, like he's just above it. Oh, nothing affects me. Oh. It's just so boring to act that way.
You're thinking of, the famous cartoon cat.
Yeah,
right?
like he's like the other Garfield.
Right.
Yeah. Kind of like like the RC Cola Garfield.
Yeah.
Anyway, who, by the way, was a very nice guy. He was fine. I don't understand.
Sure.
It was no static with
no problem with Heathcliff.
So meet that guy. Meet Henchcliffe. Now I'll never forget it.
Yeah.
Meet him. He's fine. Then Shane Gillis shows up. I'm with Joe, and Shane says to me, just kind of out of the gate, just 100 miles an hour, and he goes, "You said a bunch of shit about me, and then you put it on Twitter." And I said, "Well, yes, I did say stuff about you, but I never put anything on Twitter." And I know I don't mean to keep going over this, but
yeah, we're not going to really get into it. No. But here's all the details again.
Well, I just want to these
right.
these
this
really
guy, man.
Strokes. I mean,
yeah,
so
I'm going to compared to
I'm going to be done in about 45 seconds. I'm not even going to mention the girl I talked to or anything. Okay. So go in. He says,
oh, he doesn't want to recount that now. Now he's going to leave that whole like made up story. How he would just like the girls were flocking and crawling onto their knees in the bar towards him. He had to fight them off with a rusty sword. Come on. This man. And he says he's married too. I kind of think I could see a ring. And he says he's married, right? And isn't it just disrespectful in the first place to talk shit like that? If you have a wife, I'm just saying, even if stuff happens, just, like even if some girl hits on you or some girl's attracted to you, push it away. Push it away. You don't even need to flirt with that. You don't need to give no girl your number. That's not your wife like that. Or like a coworker. Or a friend. Like, you don't meet some random woman in the bar and then tell, how crazy that would make a lady? Oh yeah, I just gave this number to some random chick that I met at the bar, you know? Come on, dude. This guy's crazy.
This to me, the Tony guy comes over. I sort of explain. Tony says to Shane, "What's going on?" I sort of say to Tony while I'm saying it actually to Shane, like, "Listen, you came on the show. You know, the show was called Burning Bridges. People would come on and they'd be sort of antagonistic and we just." You were sort of big timing.
Yeah, it
me.
was the brand.
It was just kind of what it was. But it literally, I was saying.
Notice he didn't remember Shane Gillis's name, or Tony Hinchcliffe's name, but he remembered some obscure show. You know, he's recounting details that in the first time he didn't.
To the guy while I was standing there, I was like, "Look, it's no big deal. Like it's something we, And I actually
like a roast or something. You're not going to be like." Hey man, that was rude. What you said.
I don't even know like what we're talking about. So
right.
And basically, while we're standing there and Joe's there too, and I just said to the guy something along the lines of like, "Look, you're having I can't even tell if you're joking or not. Like you're having a great career," but I knew he wasn't joking because somebody had told me even if I ran into him, he might be kind of still.
Well, I mean, I told you, Kevin. He mentioned it to Kevin, not knowing you guys hadn't worked together in years. He was like, a
couple of days prior to my trip to Austin, I had mentioned it to somebody, and that person had said, he probably will if he has remembered, he's going to bring it up. So when I'm with these two guys and Joe, and it's kind of going, it's just, I was like, all right, well, we're not going anywhere with this. So I kind of pulled myself out of it. I went and socialized with somebody for like 2 minutes or something.
Mm-hmm.
Then when I went to at the bar, Shane's talking to some other comic who I see on Your Mom's House a lot. And he's talking about me, and he's kind of mentioning towards me, and he's motioning, and he's doing the fingers like you know what you did, and then I just said, I'm in your head, because I at this point I knew we weren't joking, but I'm like, what am I supposed to like? So then he says to the guy, he said a bunch of shit about me, and he's being a pussy because he's not apologizing. He's saying saying that I apologize, or if I'm not, I'm a pussy. Okay, fine.
Damn, the dude's acted like Mr. Big Time, but he can't even get his live stream to like the video to work. You know what I mean? Oh man. I don't know, man. Maybe I just don't know. You know, if you're friends with these people, right, and you're going to the mothership, obviously you're probably going to like the mothership, or like, it's just respectful. And he goes in there, Mr. Big Time. He's got a dog barking in the background. The quality of the stream is like staggering, and you know what I mean? Like, come on, man. If you're going to go after somebody, at least got your shit together. But that's how humans are. We go after people and our shit ain't together. You know what? All of our shit ain't really together. So maybe that's why we go after people. And that is just how it is to survive. We gotta go after people to make ourselves feel better. Right? Maybe. I just don't know why he just didn't enjoy it. Like, if he's a comedian, why he didn't network or like just hang out with some people? He's hanging out with all of these famous comedians. I mean, I'm sure he was happy to be there. Why didn't he just enjoy himself? Instead of just acting like a jerk.
Rosie, what's happening?
Sorry,
somebody, a dog whistle?
Yeah, something like that. I queefed. Rosie! Sorry, everybody.
Oh God.
This is like when I watch those.
He's on Shane's side.
It's like when I watch those political shows. Hey, what are you, Tony Hinchcliffe? He doesn't like Heathcliff, the cat.
Right.
So, Rosie, stop. Shut up. Nobody cares. Nobody cares, Rosie. Sorry, everybody.
Yeah.
It's very high budget show here. So I basically say to Shane, kind of like, I go, listen, I'm not going to apologize, and that's just kind of that. Like, there's nothing to apologize for. I don't really know even what we're talking about. And I walk away.
What do we do, guys?
I saw Joe, and then I was just gonna kind of leave. I was going to get this girl a drink. I got the girl a drink, and then I see Joe, and I tell Joe, I go, hey, I'm sorry about that Shane thing. And he was just kind of like, I didn't really think it was a big deal.
Gotcha.
And then I just left. And that was and then I told this story about it because it's something that did actually happen. So, And then I put a clip out as a lot of different people that don't know who I am, and oh my God, I'm not funny. I don't have shoulders. I'm a loser. I only have a. And by the way, let me just say,
shoulderless nobody.
Having 1,000 followers, I think, is pretty good. Okay, I had no idea that was bad. I was like, I have 1,000 followers.
Killing it.
Yeah, I'm like, excuse me, and 800 of those I bought from a following factory in India.
Sure.
So
yeah, a follower farm.
Yeah, if you really want to split hairs, I really only have probably 80 followers, and 70 of them are you. So anyway, so I was getting all these, and I was trying to sort of engage with people on Instagram because it's very quick for me just to be like, hey, thanks for reaching out. Nice to meet a fan or whatever. And people were kind of, and even like Nick, hello, Nick made the clip, and even the clip is like, I barely even say Shane's name for like a second, really. If you actually watch the clip, well,
I'm trying to remember.
I talk more about Tony and Puerto Rico than.
Did this guy not watch it? He clearly explained the whole goddamn situation in detail. Like he's trying not to do, it's just crazy. This guy, oh man, he must just have a lot of problems. That's my assumption, because he is just talking out of his ass constantly. And I know the internet can have sides. But this one is clearly this man's fault. I mean, and if you're on this guy's side, I'm just going to think you're a disaster train too, because that's the only way you can agree with this guy in this situation. I got the comments too. You're simping for Shane. No, I'm not simping for Shane. But when someone's disrespectful, I'm going to talk about it. And if I disagree with you on that, then you know what? That is what it is, because I ain't changing because you think that, right? I ain't changing. I think when someone's disrespectful, people should get called out. Called out for talking shit, especially in like your thing. People should have to face the music face to face. And obviously this guy didn't have the balls for it, and he got put in his place, whether he wants to admit it or not. And now he's trying to change the narrative, change the story, act it like he wasn't doing nothing. And sure, maybe he's trying to milk it, but think of a guy that's just sitting there trying to milk being an asshole. Right? Being an asshole, causing an asshole situation. Think of what that kind of guy is made of, right? I just don't think this guy is a very genuine, honest, or even a good guy. And I know his fans will be like, but look, you don't know him either, so shut the fuck up. We look at the facts here, and we see that he just needs attention. He probably wanted to act real big in the club, be around all those people, even though he hasn't made it to that level. And it got him in a bad situation. And you know what? Shane Gillis probably knows him because he's probably a hang around with all these comics, because he probably did comedy like 25 years ago with somebody that's famous now, and they feel some kind of loyalty because they're from his old days. That is probably what this guy is. It's just unbelievable that this guy's just talking out of his ass and going around in circles when he could just be a man and be like, I was a dick and I got caught. But he can't. So let's listen some more. Here we go.
I do about Shane. Shane says, this guy said shit. And I said, are we doing this? And then from there, it turns on. Anyway, the point is that happened. I mean, if you actually listen to the whole show, which which apparently nobody did, which is fine. We spend 45 minutes talking about Austin before we even talk about the mothership, or, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, I spent a solid 20 minutes talking about the restaurant Kimberly that wanted to charge you for bread service.
The bread service.
So do I need to apologize to Kimberly?
And now the leather bar didn't have any merch.
Yeah, the leather bar was a bear bar.
Bear bar didn't have any merch.
They also do denim and cowboy night. So it's not just leather.
Okay.
But yeah, so anyway, and then obviously, and then, Joe and I were, or at least are, I don't know, good friends. And I had not spoken to Joe.
You see that? And he done fucked up a friendship, right? He don't even know. That's what he get. Man, I wish I could tell myself, to learn to be humble, earlier on in my life. It would save me a lot of trouble not to say stupid shit. But these are things you got to learn. But you would think, everyone makes mistakes all the time, right? But you think this guy being in the comedy scene, being on YouTube, he would learn a lesson. He would learn a lesson not to run your mouth about the places you eat. And, he's in the comedy scene. Now, I showed this clip, and then all the bigger channels saw the clip, and then they picked it up and put it on their shit. And now everybody in the comedy scene, at least in that world, is going to know about him. And look, his friend is going to be put in the position to not bring that guy around or have anything to do with him. That is just the way it is, guys. Look at how this little situation, and he was telling that story to be cute and to get some clicks, and he got his clicks. He sure did, but he done fucked up all the other shit in the process.
Oh, I'd sent Joe I called him a few times. I'd sent him a couple of things on Facebook Marketplace that I thought he thought were funny, because I kind of do that now. And he had sort of responded like haha to one thing, or that was it. But I hadn't heard from him, which was a little unusual, because there are times when Joe and I will talk once a day, twice a day, 3 times a day,
which is insane. I mean, like, I can't remember the last conversation I had on the phone with a friend.
Well, Joe,
I'll do in person, but not.
Joe likes to talk on the phone, and so do I. I mean, we're close to the same age, and also, well, he'll drive places by himself, and I'll walk the dogs by myself. So it's like he does the same thing I do. Like if he might look at his say, okay, I have a half an hour drive to the whatever. I'll give Brian a call or somebody else a call or whatever. So Joe likes, and I don't mind talking on the phone, and I like talking to Joe. So it's fine. So, but I had talked to Joe for 2 weeks plus. So then I sent him a Facebook Marketplace thing last week, and he sent me a text message, and the text message was basically saying, and again, broad strokes, he said like, hey, we haven't talked, and I'm, embarrassed by you, and I'm disappointed in how you behaved, and all this other stuff. But in this text message, and he goes, but I don't want to talk about it. So I sort of responded, and I said, well, listen, we've been friends for 20 years or something. Right. If you want to talk, we can talk about it. But I don't want to do a back and forth text messaging thing, which turned into a little bit of a back and forth text messaging thing. Mm-hmm. And again, but at a certain point, he says in the text message, you're going to use this on your clips, and you're going to talk about. Oh, no. But I know, but here's the thing: I'm not going to read the text messages. Yeah, and there are a couple of things that I take umbrage with, and the only way to do it is just, I guess, here. So the idea that, number one, that this thing happened with Shane, and number one, I wasn't looking for that.
Yo, if your friend of 20 years is mad at you for putting something out on the internet and being stupid, then you go put your friend's response and what he said, and that you guys had a text message fight on the internet again? Like you gotta, if you want to make content on the internet, you gotta keep some stuff private, just for you, just for like whoever you're in a relationship with, just for your family, all this stuff. And people be putting out so much dumb shit out on the internet about their personal lives, and Joe, like, he's making it worse now. He's digging his grave. This drama is just getting out of control, and he's doing this. And you have to remember, he's doing this because he wants the attention, he wants the views, he wants the clicks. Hey, look, for the effort alone, I say, if you see this video, go leave him a comment about how you feel about how he's doing. Good or bad, go leave him a comment just for his effort alone. And because now he's ruined a friendship of 20 years, the least you can do is go let him know how you feel about all of this.
You know what I mean? I was there to see Joe. I had a good time. If I ran into Shane, somebody had given me the heads up that he might, say something or whatever. But I was just kind of like, all right, well, I'll see the guy, and I'll just be like, yeah, it was 6 years ago. And
right. I mean, squash it, maybe.
I mean, and I know I've said this before. I mean, why should that stop me ever? But like, if Shane had walked into that bar and saw me and been like, oh, you're the guy that said I wasn't nice to you. Oh my gosh, I am so sorry. And he just kind of fucked with me for a minute. I would have folded like.
No, it's your responsibility as the person that wronged somebody. And look, I know you could think that's crazy, but he should. He got caught. The best thing you say is like, you know, even to salvage your relationship with your friend and the friend with the comedy club, and just to keep your name pretty decent in the comedy world, you should just apologize. You're probably not going to see Shane Gillis that often. Maybe a couple more times in your life if you happen to be in the same club space that he is. But outside of that, what's the big deal? And then you're asking, once again, this is so annoying, you're asking Shane Gillis to approach you how you want to be approached, and he doesn't even fucking know you. So how is he supposed to know? No, man up. He called you out. You could have diffused this situation. You could have made it better. You could have apologized. You could have done so much more. But you didn't. You antagonized it. You said, I'm in your head. You said you want to do this here, like fighting. You know, it's crazy. It's crazy how some people act. And maybe that is what life is all about, and maybe it's at different rates. But learning just to let things go and to be the better person. Maybe that's what life is something about. And just to enjoy your life instead of constantly causing drama. Because drama is awful. Drama is awful unless you're not in it, and that shit is so much fun to watch. You know how I feel about reality TV, or at least the good stuff. Below Deck, new season out. That shit is getting heated. You've got a deck crew that ain't taking care of biz, and you've got a decky that gets lost out on a jet ski. You know, it's exciting stuff. But anyways, this is where we're gonna end it. Mainly because I can't listen to this insufferable man talk more shit and lies. If you'd like to watch it, go. And like I said, for the effort, go let this guy know what you think on his page, good or bad, because that is what this guy wanted the whole time. That is why he's a dick now. That is why he's been a dick in the past. And that will be why he will continue to be a dick if he just doesn't make some changes and look at his errors and his actions. We all got to do that, folks. But let me tell you, it's hard sometimes until the suffering is worse than the acknowledging of your behaviors. That's usually when it changes. Let me know what you think in the comments. Peace.